Let's take you to KZN now, where reporter Mdluli joins us live for more on how businesses have been affected, while Nobesuthu Hejana is checking out the situation in Cape Town. I'm going to start with you, Lethiwe Mdluli, just to give us a sense of what we are seeing in terms of strike action today. Yesterday, we spent a lot of the day in Cape Town, and workers were adamant that they were not going to budge from their demands. What are you hearing on the ground today?
Well, Rafiwa, today we actually started at the Transnet building in Bluff, south of Durban, where we spoke to unions who were picketing outside the Transnet business offices today, where they were saying that they're going to continue protesting until their demands are met. Of course, they are asking for a salary increase of between 13% to 15%, but of course Transnet is saying that they can only afford to increase wages by 4% or by 5%. We do know that those negotiations are currently ongoing, and so far all processes at Transnet buildings have been suspended. But right now we just want to find out from businesses that operate at the ports how they've been affected by the strike. And right now I'm actually joined by Mdluli, who's part of or who has a business from Gobi Marine. Mdluli, thank you so much for joining us at eNCA. Take us through what your business does. I know that you're based at the ports. What exactly are you specializing in?
Well, we are a diving contracting company. We mainly do underwater hull cleaning. So the vessels come in and we clean them from outside underneath, removing the sludge. So majority of the work that we do is with the vessels that come in specifically for our services. So the company has been operating since 2016. So we've sort of much been part of the port system for as long as for almost 5 years now.
So currently, of course, there is the strike action by employees. Over 4,000 employees have downed tools, and I'm sure your business has been affected by this. Take us through how you've been affected so far.
Well, because we don't have a contract with Transnet, we are a diving contractor. We pay subscription fees to the company. Majority of the clients that come in and inquire for our services don't come in to load or offload. They specifically come in just for the services that we do, and then maybe they could put in some form of fuel or whatever the case may be, whatever they need from a repairs point of view. So what we are seeing now is that we are seeing a lot less inquiries, because they could go to other ports. They could go to Mauritius, they could go to Mozambique and get the services. So the current strike says to them they would rather go to where it's not there is no strike. So we are seeing inquiries drop. And obviously from inquiries, that's your potential pool of customers, and once that drops, your revenue comes down. But again, our share of overheads and the things that we're liable for from a financial point of view hasn't gone down. So you have more debts and less money that you're making. So it's a bit of a difficult one for us. And you'd remember we just came back from COVID, where there were major closures. So businesses at this stage, especially the small businesses like ours, are still trying to recover. So this particular industrial action is really going to affect us, and we are already starting to see it from our inquiries that they have dropped significantly. This morning I was just counting where on an average week you would get about 6 to 7 inquiries. Now we are sitting at 2. And when you call clients, they say to you, look, we understand that the port is closed and there's no movement, and by the time you start to explain to them, they've already moved on. So it really is a difficulty for us.
Have you seen more people opting to use other ports in other countries over the past few years? Like you said, we were affected by COVID-19, and here mainly in Durban there was also the sewerage spill that affected your business. I remember I spoke to one of your colleagues who did say that they were losing revenue because of that, and now we're seeing the strike action.
Look, I think the people who don't have to come here, who've got other options, who can offload somewhere else, have tended to do that. If you look at the numbers over the years, you would see the numbers have gone down. Now, it may not be just because of this strike, because the strike just hasn't started, but a number of factors have contributed to finally getting to a situation where those who can go somewhere else have gone somewhere else. And then our business, particularly the service that we provide, does not rely. You don't have to do it here. So there's nothing that is unique about the health cleaning done here than done in Mauritius, because we all issue the same kind of certificate. So a lot of people and a lot of our clients, a lot of our shipping lines have went to go to other countries, and that has really affected us. And not just this industrial action, which is why from a business point of view, whilst we don't know the actual issues that they are protesting about, we hear and we've seen throughout the media what they're talking about. We really do hope that whatever impasse there is can be resolved as soon as possible, to allow especially small businesses to be able to survive this one, because this is going to have as similar of a devastating effect as COVID and as sewage spillages. So it really, from a business point of view, we just want to urge all the parties involved to engage with one another in good faith and find a solution, because both the workers and the employers, if they could sit together and find a solution, we, the outside independent contractors, would be able to save our businesses, because our businesses employ people, and there are people whose families entirely rely on our ability to make revenue, and if we can't, we really would have a problem.
Now, I don't want to speculate, but I'm sure that you know people that are contracted and they work with Transnet in your industry or in other industries. You are in contact with those people, you sit in meetings with them. Are they saying how affected they are, their businesses are, that are contracted with Transnet?
Look, I wouldn't be in a position to speculate, especially insofar as quantifying the amount of business. But just from a logical point of view, if you are not operating, you really are in trouble, you know, because your financial commitments still continue, and it's very rarely that you could get a break from your financial commitments. So just from that logical point of view, whilst I won't be able to give you the stats and how much they are affected, but I would imagine that just from a business point of view, they will be affected.
And in terms of if the strike continues, let's just say for about 2 weeks, because right now it's just day 3, how will you be affected exactly in terms of revenue?
Look, I think our cost of overheads rely on us being able to make sales, provide the service during the month. So if you can't do that, you're going to find yourself having to make difficult decisions, which include which some of your cost, which ones to let go and which ones to continue with. And I think it's a very difficult decision. Look, we're not at a stage where we will start shredding our staff. That would be the last resort. We are not there yet. We're hoping never to get there, because we've got experience. We went through that in 2019, early 2020. It was difficult. So we hope not to go there again. So whilst we don't know how long it would get to that point, we really hope we don't find out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So Rafiwa, that is Mdluli. He is part of Gobi Marine. Just basically taking us through how his business has been affected by the strike action, saying that if it does go on any further, they will be feeling the pinch anytime soon.
Thank you very much, Lethiwe Mdluli, for that update in KZN for us. And we shift over to Cape Town, where Nobesuthu Hejana is covering the strike for us in that province. Nobesuthu, earlier on, some striking workers taking advantage of the camera and showing to the viewers what it is they exactly want from Transnet there. It is quite a hive of activity there where you are at the moment. But tell us, are they still as adamant as they were yesterday about this is what we want and we will strike until we get it? What is happening on the ground today?
Well, Rafiwa, about a few minutes ago, they were briefed by an SACP member just under that shade. So you were seeing people coming from that particular meeting. So they are saying that they will be sticking to their word that they will not go back to work until their demands are met. But there's quite a number of activities here, police being redirected to other areas. to check, but there's nothing happening from what we're seeing. But quite a number of people who are still here, as they are still saying that today they will continue with their demands or protests or strike that they're currently under, as we've seen quite a number of unions that have come out to support these two unions that are affiliated or members that are under UNTU as well as SATAU. Earlier we spoke to the COSATU, the provincial secretary of COSATU in the province, who was saying that they're here to declare their support because they understand the frustrations of these workers, because they work very hard at the ports, but the little amount that they're getting, or the request of those percentages that they are requesting from the employer, is seemingly something that is not even a drop in the ocean for how much Transnet is making per day. But we've tried to speak to different industries within the province just to gauge whether they've been affected by this particular protest or strike. I've reached out to the fresh foods industry, but they're saying that they can only speak tomorrow after those engagements between the ministers as well as the unions and Transnet, just to see whether they've been impacted. But at this stage they say they can't really quantify how much they've lost, which is something that also Transnet has also mentioned yesterday, that at this stage they can't really quantify how much has been lost, but their marine services have severely been impacted by this particular strike, which is something that they're trying so hard to ensure that it ends, as they are willing to go back to the tables and speak to the unions. This obviously follows their offering yesterday, which was between 4.5 and 5% of what they were offering, as opposed to the 12, or rather the 12.5 and 14% that the unions are calling for. But they were also saying that the workers here, that they are willing to go back to the drawing tables and settle for anything that is between 10, but anything less than 10 is something that they are not willing to entertain. But I'm going to see and try if maybe we can speak to the workers. Tatam, are you allowed to talk to us? Okay. Tata, obviously beni brief wa SACP phansi kwala shade bathini i-update ithini kubo ngoku?
Akukabikho nto ecacayo sisi. Into esithethayo sifuna u-12%. Asithathi into ngaphansi ko-8.12%. Isame apho sisi.
Tata, khandixelele mhlambi ngumsebenzi onjani owenzayo wena pha kwa-Transnet, just usizobela umfanekiso ukuba nisebenza kangakanani, especially wena, so wenza umsebenzi onjani pha and ii-hours ozisebenzayo zingakanani?
Sisi into siyasebenza kakhulu pha.
Usebenza umsebenzi onjani?
Sisebenza as a JV phaya, so ii-hours esisebenzayo is too much. Sisebenza 8 hours nge-weekend, sisebenza 12 hours, so umsebenzi mninzi kakhulu, because into yonke engenayo apha kweli lizwe ixhomekeka pha Transnet nephumayo. Siyadeserve uba siyifumane le percentage siyifunayo.
Kulo msebenzi wakho mhlambi zeziphi izinto ozenzayo?
We move i-container passes point A to point B. Mninzi umsebenzi esiwenzayo phaya. Siyayideserve le kakhulu le percentage siyifunayo, because yonke into iyadura, ipetrol iyadura, ukutya kuyadura, yonke into inyukile. Ngoku xa besinike u-1% indlalo le bayasithuka ngaloo ndlela.
Xa ninothi niyifumane ezi percentage nizifunayo, mhlawumbi ngowuphi umehluko ozowenza kwimiholo yenu?
Ingenza umehluko omkhulu kakhulu, ingenza umehluko omkhulu kakhulu sisi, because yonke into iyadura. Ezikolweni i-school fees ziphezulu, ingawenza kakhulu umehluko sisi, kakhulu.
Well, Rafua, as you can see, the board that was handled by the gentleman there, they are talking about how exactly will their percentage or the salary increases that they want will sort of like assist them, as they're talking about highlighting the three companies with the percentages that they are calling for. But obviously Uputi was saying that the work that he does, they move and shift containers, so it's quite a lot of work that they are doing, so that's why they are adamant that they want that percentage, or those they're sticking to their demands.